Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I am so happy to be with you again today as together we can consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, I'm talking about flying with confidence, practical steps to overcome your flight anxiety. With summer travel in full swing now when I am recording this, many of you out there will be taking flight, whether you like it or not. But if you don't like it, this episode is specifically for you. We can adopt new attitudes around flying with some of these tips and tricks I have for you. So pay attention. There is also going to be a guided meditation called In-Flight Peace and Calm underneath this episode if you are a subscriber to our ad-free episodes through Apple or Supercast. You will find this In-Flight Peace and Calm guided meditation. It's about a 10-minute meditation right under this episode, and you can listen to that while you're on the flight itself. I did it just for you, and I hope that it will be really helpful. If you're not a member of our subscription to the ad-free episodes, you can find more information about that in the show notes. Now, overcoming anxiety about flying can really be challenging because it's a big event. There's more than just getting on a plane. It's all of the hubbub beforehand and for wherever we're going. But it is possible with a systematic approach and some of these strategies to help you overcome your fear of flying. So I have some ideas for you, some tips and tricks. And now none of these are going to be for everybody. You don't need all of this, but something here is going to give you a little bit of a light bulb moment. And that may be helpful to you, that something you've not thought of before to help you on your flying experience. The first one is I want you to begin to understand your fear. Start by acknowledging and understanding what's going on around flying. Find out what your specific triggers are or your reason behind your anxiety. This is self-awareness, and it can always help us more with our fear. Self-awareness is extremely helpful. So just pay attention. See why you have been afraid of getting on a plane. Just understand it. Secondly, I want you to gather some knowledge about flying. This might be helpful. Some people, this is their jam. They really do well to understand more about flying and never thought to even look into it, but it makes them feel more relaxed. You can educate yourself about the various aspects of flying. Learn about the science of flight, aircraft safety, statistics, and understand that the facts can help to dispel irrational thoughts and alleviate anxiety. Third, I want you to get familiar with the flight process itself. Now, if you haven't flown in a while, which could really be the case for many people because I know a lot of people who have not been on a plane since before COVID. So it could be a bit of a space since you've been on a plane. And it may be even longer than that, right? Some of us go long periods without getting on a plane, and then next thing you know, you got to fly all over the place 1 month after the other. So if you haven't been on a plane in a while, become familiar with the process, including the check-in procedures and the security check-in and how long the lines usually are and how they board. Things have changed, and they always do. So knowing what to expect can really reduce the anxiety associated with the unfamiliar. You know, the anxious mind, if it doesn't have anything that it can hook up to think about, it's going to go off into all kinds of negative ways of considering the possibilities. Now, 4, choose a supportive travel companion. If you have a choice of who you're traveling with, choose someone who understands your fear and can provide support and reassurance during the flight. Their presence can actually help you feel more at ease. Number 5, see if you can identify the root cause. See if your fear has an underlying cause. It may not. It could be related to a previous traumatic experience, or a fear of heights, or a lack of control. But identifying the root cause, if you find it, can help you address it directly. And that can be really helpful because you don't have to be more global about your fear. You can say, I'm not really afraid of flying. I'm afraid of XYZ. Number 6, gradual exposure to flying can be an effective way to desensitize yourself to the fear. Start with small steps, such as visiting the airport, just parking your car and watching the planes take off. I have had people do this. It can be helpful if you have the time prior to your trip to get closer and closer to the airport. See if you can progress to going on a short flight. That might be helpful. And you can do this step-by-step approach, which allows you to confront and overcome your fear in a more controlled manner in smaller bites. For some people, this is the way to go. Other people just want to jump in and do it. There isn't a right or wrong way, but if you feel you have the time, you may want to consider this more gradual approach. You could also try watching videos or looking at pictures of planes and then visit the airport and then see if you could ever get in an empty aircraft. I do not really quite know how you would do that, but it may be a possibility. And understand about flying that there may be shaking and jolting while there's turbulence. The most important thing to know is that turbulence in and of itself isn't dangerous. We have this idea that, oh no, here we go. Well, those are my favorite words back when I was anxious, but it doesn't mean that there is danger happening. It might be uncomfortable, but your plane is built to handle all of that. And much of how we experience turbulence is subjective. So just know it doesn't mean it's dangerous. Number 7, practice your relaxation techniques. Learn and practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, or progressive muscle relaxation. These techniques can help you relax and manage your anxiety or stress during the flight. But regular practice beforehand can help you feel more grounded and calm overall. These techniques can be helpful both during the flight and in the days leading up to your trip. Specifically, practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness to stay present and focused during the flight. Pay attention to your surroundings and engage in activities that ground you in the present moment. And if you don't use any kind of progressive relaxation right now, you could try our body scan, and you get that for free by just going to the anxietycoachespodcast.com/body-scan. Actually, that's long, so the link is in the show notes. But that's about a 10-minute guided body scan meditation. And number 8, you can practice the attitude of excitement. Now, this is important because often we misconstrue our excitement as anxiety. Changing your viewpoint from feelings of anxiety, panic, to feelings of excitement can let the amygdala know you are not in danger, and it can stand down. Now, this may not alleviate all of the sensations because once the train has left the station, it has to take the ride, but it will eliminate new fuel to keep the fight or flight system engaged. Number 9, visualize positive outcomes. It's good to use our mind in constructive ways that we want. So use visualization exercises to imagine positive experiences during a flight. Visualize yourself feeling calm, relaxed, and actually enjoying the journey. Seek support. There's nothing wrong with talking to your family and friends or support groups about your fear of flying. Sharing your concerns and experiences with others who have overcome similar fears can be reassuring and motivating. Supportive individuals can provide encouragement throughout your journey. It's okay to let others know that you're not particularly comfortable with flying. Next, you could consider self-help resources. You could utilize resources such as books and online forums and mobile applications designed to help you overcome the fear of flying. These resources often provide more practical tips, coping strategies, and success stories that can inspire and guide you and that you can take them with you on the plane. Next, I want you to prepare for the flight. This one is super important because this can make a big difference. Make thorough preparations before your flight. And this means arrive at the airport with ample time. Don't cut yourself short. If the airport says be here between 1 and 2 hours, be there 2 hours early, not 1. Just so that you can know if something goes wrong, you still have plenty of time. Pack your essentials and familiarize yourself with the flight itinerary. Be well prepared. This can help reduce stress and increase your confidence. There's nothing worse than being caught off guard with something that we could have prepared for ahead of time. It seems like it's a lot of preparation, but in the end, it will keep you calm and keep you from rushing about. You know that when we start rushing and moving fast and acting like we don't know what we're doing, that really triggers more stress hormones. Next, I want you to consider distracting yourself during the flight. I don't like distraction for a regular practice when you're home and safe and sound and in your usual environment, but during the flight, and when you are already knowing you're anxious on a flight, see if you can engage in activities that distract your mind during the flight. It could be listening to music, watching movies, reading books, or even engaging in conversation. Keeping your mind occupied can divert your attention from the anxiety-provoking thoughts. So many things we can do to distract. So find out what your favorite things are and take those with you on the plane. Next, I want you to be sure to celebrate small victories. Recognize and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Each step forward is a success and brings you closer to overcoming your fear. Acknowledge your achievements and use them as motivation to continue challenging yourself. This means even if you are just going to the airport when there's no flight to catch, but you're driving there just to see how long it takes, that's a success. You drove to the airport. Another one might be go and looking at how long the security line is at the time when you might be flying. This may seem like overkill to people who are not anxious about flying, but I'm telling you, every little thing that you can prepare for ahead of time will just make you feel more comfortable on the day that you are taking off. Remember, everybody's journey is unique. And so I want you to be patient with yourself. if you are the only person who struggles with a specific part of airline travel. Overcoming the fear of flying is a process, and it may take time. It may take a bunch of small flights, or it may take a bunch of long flights. It's okay. You can chip away a little bit at a time. Each trip is going to be unique, and you are going to practice different things. And eventually, you won't need to practice anymore. You'll be able to get on the plane with ease and grace. So be persistent and proactive, and you can gradually overcome your fear and experience the joy of air travel. I hope today's show was helpful for you. And if you know anybody who has fear or stress around flying, maybe you want to let them know about this episode, because believe it or not, a lot of people are afraid of flying. It's very common. And so it's not always comfortable for the rest of us either. I used to be more afraid. I am not afraid, but sometimes I just don't like it because it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. There's all kinds of things that you wouldn't normally be doing. But that's okay. It's just part of the process. And instead of having that be a danger signal, I just look at it as it's a discomfort signal. I don't really like this, but I'm safe. It's okay. And now for today's quote. I'm not afraid of storms, for I'm learning how to sail my ship. And that's from Louisa May Alcott. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.